Your morning cup of coffee. I mean, billions of us absolutely rely on it to even function, right? But medically speaking, it's actually deeply misunderstood, especially when it comes to our kidney health as we cross that 50-year milestone. Welcome to The Explainer. I'm Dr. Daniel Carter. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating medical paradox: why your daily brew could be the ultimate protector for an aging kidney or a hidden hazard. And it all depends on a tiny literal quirk in your biology. So think about it. Is that dark roast a medical shield actively protecting your renal system, or is it doing damage behind the scenes? Well, surprisingly, the answer is a resounding yes to both. For a lot of folks, it's a robust protector against one of the most agonizing urological conditions out there. But for others, and this is due to a very specific genetic trait, that exact same cup poses a distinct physiological risk. Let's really dive into why this duality exists and how it uniquely targets our bodies as we age. Okay, let's start with the good news. This comes straight from the International Journal of Medical Science and Health Research. They tackled a massive global health burden: calcium oxalate kidney stones. Now, these crystalline formations make up about 80% of all cases, and they can become notoriously stubborn and recurrent as we get older. For years, practitioners actually warned against coffee, fearing it spiked urinary calcium and, contributed to the problem. But when you look at the aggregated data, it reveals a completely different, highly protective story. 40%. Honestly, that is a staggering risk reduction. A major study by Ewan and Larson investigated this relationship and found that a 50% increase in genetically predicted coffee consumption resulted in a 40% lower risk of developing kidney stones. I mean, for a condition that painful, affecting millions, especially later in life, that is just massive. And the methodology they used, it gives us incredible confidence in that exact number. The reason we can actually trust that number comes down to something called Mendelian randomization. You can basically think of this as nature's own clinical trial. Instead of just asking people what they drink and tracking them over decades, which, let's face it, is prone to all sorts of human error, researchers look at genetic variants that are known to dictate coffee consumption behavior. Because these genes are assigned randomly at birth, they aren't messed up by lifestyle confounders. This method provides strong causal evidence. It proves that coffee isn't just loosely associated with fewer stones, it actively prevents them. So, how does it actually pull this off? Let's talk about maintenance for aging kidneys. First, caffeine induces diuresis. Simply put, it increases your urine output to keep your kidneys well flushed. Second, and this is absolutely critical for maintaining older kidneys, coffee increases the excretion of citrate and magnesium right into the urine. These act as natural inhibitors against stone formation. Finally, compounds in the coffee directly block those painful calcium oxalate crystals from sticking to your renal cells. It's literally changing your urinary chemistry to fight off crystal aggregation. To actually get these benefits, the data points to what we call a diuretic threshold. This sits right around 300 to 360 milligrams of caffeine, which is roughly 3 to 4 standard cups of coffee a day. For most healthy adults, consuming this moderate amount unlocks these protective, anti-lithogenic actions without causing any adverse side effects. It truly serves as a physiological shield. But as you know, medicine is rarely one size fits all. While 3 to 4 cups might be a shield for many, for a specific subset of the population, crossing that threshold turns coffee into a silent hazard. And if you're over 50, when your kidneys are already naturally losing some of their inherent filtration capacity, this is where you really need to pay attention. The deciding factor here isn't your age, your weight, or your diet. No, it's written directly into your DNA. Let me introduce you to the CYP1A2 gene. This gene encodes a liver enzyme that acts basically like the bouncer at a club, but for caffeine. It dictates exactly how fast your morning brew is metabolized and cleared out of your system. And the catch is, as humans, we don't all possess the exact same version of this gene. That genetic variation is the master key that unlocks the dark side of the coffee-kidney paradox. We can actually divide the population into two main groups based on this gene. You have your fast metabolizers, who carry the AA genotype. They clear caffeine from their system rapidly and super efficiently. Slow metabolizers, on the other hand, carry the AC or CC genotypes. For them, caffeine just lingers in the bloodstream for hours on end. What starts as a quick morning pick-me-up turns into a state of prolonged physiological stress on the whole body. To see this stress in action, we look at the Harvest study. This tracked untreated adults with stage 1 hypertension over a 10-year follow-up period.
Now, while this study monitored a younger demographic of 18 to 45-year-olds, the implications for older adults are frankly massive. Think about it. If 1 gram caffeine causes long-term renal damage in a 30-year-old, imagine the compounding effect on a 55-year-old kidney that is already dealing with the natural wear and tear of aging. It's a huge deal.
The data serves as a stark warning for slow metabolizers drinking heavy amounts of coffee. And by heavy, we mean more than 3 cups a day. Just look at these hazard ratios. They were 2.74 times more likely to develop albuminuria, 2.81 times more likely to develop hypertension, and 2.11 times more likely to suffer from hyperfiltration. For anyone over 50 who is trying to manage their blood pressure, this means heavy coffee intake isn't just some harmless habit. It is a direct catalyst for severe kidney dysfunction. Let's break down those clinical terms so we can really understand the physical reality here. Hyperfiltration is a condition where the kidneys are essentially forced into a state of damaging overdrive. Because the caffeine isn't being cleared quickly enough by the liver, its stimulating effects force the kidneys to filter blood at an abnormally, unsustainably high rate. It's like driving a car with the engine constantly in the red line. Eventually you're going to take on permanent damage. And the physical evidence of that redlining shows up as albuminuria. Albumin is a vital blood protein. Healthy kidneys keep it securely in your bloodstream where it belongs. But when overworked filters are damaged by sustained high blood pressure and hyperfiltration, albumin leaks right into the urine. It's a stark, early physical warning sign of chronic kidney disease, which is a massive, life-altering concern as we age past 50. The Harvest study definitively concluded that albuminuria, hyperfiltration, and hypertension increase with heavy coffee intake among slow caffeine metabolizers. The caffeine acts as a continuous stimulant, prompting glomerular remodeling and essentially scarring those kidney filters over time. And look, if you are older and already taking medications for blood pressure or kidney function, this genetic mismatch and prolonged stimulation can actively fight against your prescriptions. Not exactly what you want from your morning cup. What this explainer really highlights is the absolute necessity of personalized medicine, especially in our later decades of life. We simply can no longer classify coffee universally as good or bad. For fast metabolizers, those 3 or 4 cups a day are flushing the system, increasing citrate, and fending off agonizing stones. But for slow metabolizers, that exact same routine might be quietly driving your kidneys into a state of long-term dysfunction. So I want to leave you with this to ponder as we wrap up today. Are you a fast or slow metabolizer? And more importantly, is your body begging you to adjust a lifelong daily habit? If you experience prolonged jitters, a racing heart, or stubborn blood pressure issues hours after your morning cup,